Hi designer, here's a quick tip on working with architecture decisions documents for your design system. Now, I'm going to do this in Claude, but you can certainly do this as a manual update. I've written a whole blog on this topic, but what an architecture decisions record is a little template or running timeline of key decisions you've made in your design system. So while a design token tells you what the decision might be, this architecture decision record tells us why we made that decision. And if I'm updating this manually, I can just simply copy my template and paste it at the bottom, make an update to it, and then go up to the top of my document and update the version number. So this would be version 4.1 now. I'm using a tool called Obsidian, which is like a no-code wrapper for working with Markdown files on your machine. It's free. If you don't have a tool for working with Markdown, I highly recommend you check it out. However, my preferred method is working with Claude. So I have a project set up here to document my design system. And I've got my GitHub repo with my tokens in it. I've got some other documents that don't really matter for this video. And then I have a copy of that same architecture decisions doc in here. And if you click in, you can preview what's actually in the file that it's looking at. And all the way at the bottom, I have that same template, which is just telling me what's the name of the decision, what date did we update it, what we learned, why it's important to know about it, any implementation notes, and where we permanently documented it. Because of course, a decision log or a timeline of decisions is not full documentation. We still want to properly document these things in the system. Let's go through a workflow. Hi Claude, please review the architecture decisions note. And once you are ready, I can let you know what I'd like help thinking through. Now, it's going to take its time to go through that. I should mention I also have some NPC servers set up so that Claude can talk to Airtable, which has a lot of my naming conventions, which is like I'm using this word for this purpose. So it's telling me it's reviewed the notes, it understands what's going on. Okay, cool. What would you like to think through? All right, here we go. Sorry about all the typos in advance for anyone who gets a bit like, ooh, about typos. Okay, we've discussed and documented somewhere, I think in Airtable, that we won't use hierarchy names like primary, secondary, and quaternary. Like, what even is quaternary? But I can't recall why we made this decision. I don't think it's in the architecture decisions doc, but please check. I think it may be trapped inside the Airtable for naming is hard. We should think this through and add it to the architecture decisions record note. Let's see what happens. All right, what did it find? When you use primary, secondary, tertiary at the component or token level, what happens when the components are being used within a design use case where other levels of emphasis aren't there yet? If you have a tertiary button, which would be defined at the component level on its own, that name doesn't really have the same significance when you have it in product design. So if the button is acting as the only button, is it still primary? What happens if the secondary and tertiary action are grouped together? So that might be like your outlined button and your ghost button sitting together in a modal. That's your secondary button, but it's performing the job of the primary action. And this becomes pretty confusing. So I remember this because I feel quite strongly about it. But now that we've got the information pulled out of Claude, I think we can get it ready to add into the ADR. So do you have any clarifying questions for me? If not, go ahead and create a new version of the ADR. Once you are done, I'll add it to the project and archive the existing doc. Please update the version number for me. See what happens. All right, one question. Does this principle apply broadly, like anywhere in the token system, or specifically to component emphasis variation buttons? Airtable says emphasis hierarchy, which suggests it's about emphasis variations, but I want to confirm before I document it. Okay, let me think through the answer for this specific question, which is not important to the workflow. Speed up this part of the video, and then we'll be on our way. I love that it called it a smell. Quaternary is a smell that you need a different scale. Oh, I have a colleague that I work with who uses this word a lot. It makes me smile. Okay. It's adding this as V5. I think the document is going to be fine, but I'd be very curious why this is a major update and not a minor update. Probably because it has a brand new entry in it, and it's probably pretty important. I bet you if I asked it, it would tell me. But you know, I'm still getting used to the whole major, minor, numbered version control system for my own docs instead of just what's coming out of GitHub. So it's finally finished. It's added the latest thing at the top of my document, which is really great. I'm now going to download a copy of this document so that I have it saved to my machine. It's going in my downloads folder for now, but don't worry, I have a proper archive system. And I'm just going to go ahead and click this button to add to project. It's going to save it as the V5. I'm going to go back to my project now. And now I have two different versions of this doc. So I'm going to click this one. This is V5. And I'm going to click this one. This is V4. So I'm going to just delete this one. And if I deleted the wrong one, it's no big deal because I have it in my downloads folder. I can just upload it again. It's no problem. Okay. So now that decision is added in the architecture decision record in my Claude project, which is super cool. And now I can use that information to help me make decisions moving forward. So I could say, please review the architecture decisions record and let me know when you are ready. I always do this like primer step, old school habit perhaps, but I feel like it gets Claude oriented in what is the current state of the project, even if I have memory on and like all these other things. This first prompt just really helps to get it sort of centered and organized. And once it's up to speed, I'm gonna ask it to give me some suggestions for token names that are using this example. Okay. So cool. I have answers here. Do you want me to pull related records that document this pattern? Sure, why not? Let's just see what it does. With all my typos. Claude knows me well enough now to be able to read through the lines, which is so nice. Anyways, I could just copy these responses, send them over to a colleague, have a discussion about it, and once we agree, again, we could add it to the architecture decisions doc. So I hope you found this helpful and you have a lot of fun working with Claude or whatever LLM you have to get it to automatically update your architecture decisions doc. Even better if you have that pushing into code and saving somewhere that your whole team can collaborate with it. So thanks for watching. Hope you found this helpful. Bye for now.